to grace us with your guidance on this occasion.
Thank you very much to the Secretary, Additional Secretary and the entire MCA team, industry representatives, CII and other business and industry associations, the media representatives, invited guests. I first of all thank all of you all for having been invited and for you to be here today. And during Parliament times, it is very difficult to predict the time and commitments. Today too, this program could have started happily at 3 o'clock, but because the discussions on the 4 bills from the Finance Ministry are being taken up in the Rajya Sabha, and I couldn't speculate on the time. I had to sit. Even now, I understand I've come here just as I'd reached here. The railway discussions are over and the discussion on the bills have commenced, and I'm expected to actually be there when the opposition starts the debate. I've excused myself for a short duration from the Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, but I'm immensely happy to be here today on several counts. First, I think it was absolutely visionary of PM to put the finger on the point that today our youth are going through various different courses as per their aptitude. And the industry is also going through a big churn. They are bringing in automation, they are bringing in AI, they are bringing in internet-based learning, and also going into robotics and so on. So as much as you train your youth, even as they get out of their institutions, there's still a shortage of industry expectation in terms of the skills that they expect, which they want to find in every new applicant. Now, this problem was so very clearly recognized by the Honorable Prime Minister that in July 24 budget, which was for the rest of the year, having given a vote on account in February 24, for the rest of the year we came up with a budget in July 24, in which 5 different schemes were announced in order to improve more enrollment into jobs, more support to the job seeker who gets enrolled, support to the employer who wants these new employment, the additional employments that he gets in, and moreover to bring in that kind of a bridge which is so required for industry expectation to be met and for the youth to find a chance to know what kind of expectations exist in the industry or business world. How did we want to do it? We wanted to have an internship scheme in which the government would give a fair deal of amount for monthly expenditure in terms of some kind of a payment for the intern, 4,500 rupees, and the industry was asked to chip in 500 rupees. And we expected the top 500 companies or businesses to give that exposure to these youth who were non-IIT students, who were not coming from well-known institutions. We are not coming from metropolitan cities. Not that the metropolitan cities are excluded, but aiming at getting tier 3, tier 2 students to come in so that they understand what is the expectation of the job market and how much of additional skills that they have to acquire, and also to get a view of how the jobs work in a shop floor, in a business house, in a servicing center, in a logistics firm, whatever. So they understand what's the scope of job availability and where does he possibly try to fit in himself, and for fitting in, what is it that he needs to acquire. So essentially a gap filling, bridging, exposing, and also giving the complete exposure for the individual is the objective of this internship scheme which we brought in July. And in October we came up with a first pilot in which I was glad to see at least 300 odd companies coming in. And later enrollment was started. There was a transparent process through which the website was available. People could go register themselves saying, I'm from this PIN code, as much as possible through the system itself, every intern applicant was tried to be placed in the area from which he came, literally within the district, if not the neighboring district. No one was expected to get out too far unless they chose to want to, they choose saying, I want to go this far. So the system was very automated. It was very clearly supportive of all the proactive provisions in the Constitution so that nobody is missed out. People who needed that additional support were given. The reservation policy was also introduced into it. But the companies were given a short list through which they could choose who they wanted to. So it was no compulsion on the industry, no interference in their management process, but yet making industry realize that they should also take a step forward to give that opportunity for people who want to understand what is it that which they have to acquire so that they are better ready for the markets. So the pilot ran, and the second pilot, if I may call that, is now expanded, and I understand it covers more than 735 districts in the country, which means all states are covered, union territories are covered, and in this second phase, more industries have come forward, 325 industries have come forward. But even with this, and I think I appreciate the industry's readiness to come forward and offer positions, but for a country of our size, and with the objective that the top 500 companies participate, we still have some way to go. I would appeal to the industry to make sure that the rest of them, beyond the 300 who have come forward, should also participate. This is a national cause. Nobody is expecting you to cut your profits, or nobody is expecting industry to face loss. The government is chipping in money. We need to give that confidence to our youth. We need our youth to understand what it takes to get into such top 500 companies if they ready themselves, if only they ready themselves. If they don't ready themselves, they're not going to be wanted by the industry. So I would think Indian industry should participate in the larger interest of this country's youth. That demographic dividend which exists should be available for industry so that their productivity, their future can be better endowed with our youngsters going in there. But that's not going to happen in books. You need to participate. You need to open that little window so that people have a peek at what you're doing. And that's how youth will be tempted to build themselves, give them the capacity so that they can reach those positions for which they are ready. So, yet not ready, but they should be ready. So I would think this attempt by the Corporate Affairs to make it accessible in all Indian languages in the website is a very big step forward. You cannot limit students to only English and Hindi. Every language in India should have its prominence, especially if the students are from non-metropolitan cities. Now by launching a mobile app, we are making it even more accessible. Whatever be the phone in the hands of these potential interns, they'll have better information in their hand. And therefore I think it is for industry, it is for people like us in the parliament, it is for people like our MOs in the parliament, in fact answering one of their questions. Or probably, yes, answering one of the questions. I had very clearly appealed to all the members of parliament that in their respective constituencies, they should encourage youth to come in and join in the internship programs, because they are a very good factor in the respective constituencies to appeal to their youth, to bring more youth into the scheme. And many of them have really appreciated that we have appealed to them, and they shall take this course up. So today with this mobile app, I think we've opened even more, or made it even more accessible for interns, potential interns to come in. Everyone who's in this room and everyone who's otherwise joining us should take a little bit of initiative in this scheme and also bring in more people for the interns, because the country needs their efforts, their service, and similarly industry needs better qualified individuals. It serves both our causes, and government is only willing to extend and tweak the system with very many more such apps and other facilitation, so that interns do get the opportunity that they at the moment lack, but that at the moment desire to have. So thank you for participation in today's launch, and I appreciate the effort which MCA, MOS from his side, secretary from her side, and the entire team are doing to make sure that this scheme and this internship program of the government succeeds and reaches that 1 crore number that we are hoping to cover in the next 5 years. Thank you very much.